Hey y'all, I'm Naturally Elise, one half of the R&B Representers, and today we being the R&B Representers and some of our really close musical friends that we actually met all of them through music, um, are going to pay homage to the life and music of D'Angelo. Um, it was a loss that really hit the music head folks really hard. And I remember it was so hard for me to even talk about him, to see any posts, to see any reels. I couldn't listen to the music until one of our friends that's going to be in this compilation, Neltron, called me. And we both have the same deep, deep affinity for the music. And we were finally able to like really talk about it, like to really have that deep conversation. So I love that I was able to have that moment with him. And before I was even ready to talk about it, I asked my musical friends if they would just make a 5 minute or less video about their favorite D'Angelo moment or song, and just to take that however they wanted, wherever they wanted to go with it. And they came through. Love y'all. And so I will start off with my favorite D'Angelo song. And most people that know me a little bit know that my favorite D'Angelo song is Another Life. That's from the Black Messiah album. And I do remember hearing it for the very first time and the visceral reaction that I had, like just from the first 10 seconds. And I just remember it gave me the same feeling as the first time I heard Untitled. But this was different because it was the same like emotion, but there was that muddiness, that thickness, that different kind of thickness that Black Messiah has that just really hit a place. And I remember hearing it the very first time and it just brought me to tears. And it continued to still bring me to tears. But what's so funny, in my grief, this song that used to bring me to tears actually now really makes me smile. And it makes me smile because even though he has left this particular realm, I feel like people are discovering this music. That music is eternal, especially the music that D'Angelo made. Like it stick to your bones kind of music. And I love that people are discovering or rediscovering it with different eyes, different ears rather, eyes too. Um, and that just makes me happy now. So this song that used to make me kind of sad, not even that it made me sad, it just hit a nerve. And I think I have resolved it to now to where this Another Life is the song that brings me peace. So that is my favorite D'Angelo song. So check out our friends that are going to pay tribute, and we're going to end this video. It's going to be the other half of the R&B Representers, JR, will close with us. So stick with us, and as we pay honor to this legend who touched so many, but especially touched me and these friends that you're about to see. Love y'all. Mwah.
Players, it's your boy Ed from Soul and Stereo, and I'm so happy to be here with my cousins, the R&B Reps. Shout out to my people because they invited me on to tell my favorite memories of our guy D'Angelo, and I was just so happy to do that. Shout out to my people, and shout out to all the D'Angelo fans out there because I know his music touched you as much as he touched me. My favorite memory of D'Angelo, actually I have two that I'd like to share. First was the first time I heard the single from this project right here, Brown Sugar, my favorite D'Angelo album. I'll take you back to 1994, 1995. I am sitting at the kitchen table in Portsmouth, Virginia. I am looking at this very tiny TV that we had on the kitchen table, and we see this new video on BET from this artist I had never heard of named D'Angelo. So I'm watching it, and this brother's sitting there and he's playing the piano and doing his thing. And it struck me because at this point in 95 R&B, and look, I love R&B in the 90s, of course, but this was different. Like, this was a guy at the piano, like, doing his thing, just plying his craft, but he's doing it in a way that we hadn't really heard regularly. It's just live instrumentation. It seems like we're watching like a jam session almost. And he's just sitting there doing his thing. So rich, so soulful. It was like a new age Sly and the Family Stone, a little bit of Stevie in there, but it had that grit and soul. To me, it was like I am watching this brother invent a new form of R&B before our eyes. And before we knew it, in the years to come, we would have the neo soul branding. But that all started here, and I was just so captivated. I missed that feeling of invention, and it felt like D'Angelo was just doing something completely different, taking stuff from the past, bringing it to the present, and presenting it to a new audience. You just knew you were witnessing something special at the time, and that always resonated with me. Now, the second thing that I remember is I'm listening to this song, y'all. Brown sugar, babe. Get high off your love, don't know how to behave. And I'm like, now of course it comes off like a love song. But I'm like, player, is he talking about that sticky icky? Is this a weed song? I was listening and I was like trying to figure it out in my head. And then he messed up. He slipped up because he dropped that line. He was like, even got a big sister by the name of Chocolate Tie. I was like, all right, player. All right. You haven't fooled me. I know what this is about. I know what this is about. So I love that he was able to take a song. Now, of course, this isn't the first time. We've heard of Mary Jane. We've heard of these songs before. But this was a way to kind of just take his artistry, be real smooth and sexy with it, but also wink to the audience and be like, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with y'all. It made me a fan because it showed me that he was more than just a guy just singing from a sheet of music. This is an artist, this is a creative, and he's able to take his experiences and the stuff he loves and present it in a way where it's the love of R&B masked in just like this incredible instrumental presentation and hit y'all up with something new. I had so much respect for him. Couldn't wait to get the album. Copped the album immediately. And it's become one of my favorite albums of the era. D'Angelo did not have a lot of albums, of course. But he didn't need a lot of albums. Because every album was an experience. And it all started with this one. He will be forever missed. But as long as the music lives on, so will his voice.
Would have to be 2015, man. He came to Atlanta. He was at Tabernacle. My wife surprised me with tickets. And, you know, just being an adult at that time and thinking of the first time I saw him, I was a jit with my parents at Chastain Park. So, and I had an appreciation. The first time I heard Brown Sugar, man, I was like, man, who the hell is this? You know, so he was the first artist that my parents and I were a fan of. So they took my young ass to the concert. And I got to see him then. So seeing him, like I said, in 2015 was my greatest moment because it was like a culmination of, you know, all that. It's basically like my childhood musical superhero. And I'm saying, oh, he still got it. Like, you still see the magic. You still see, you know what I'm saying, the genius. And it's fresh. You know what I'm saying? He's speaking on what was getting more publicized at the time, but what was always going on with the country. Like, he's speaking on those topics. He's giving us the classics. And it's just somebody, like, seeing the genius at work. That was for sure my favorite moment that I have with D'Angelo. You know, I could for sure talk about him forever, and I intend to. But yeah, if I had to pick one, that moment in 2015 when he came after Black Messiah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Keith KB Burrows. And one of my favorite moments of the late great D'Angelo, I would say, would be, I believe it was in 2012 at the BET Awards when he performed Sugar Daddy, which at the time was not released on what would become the Black Messiah album. But he gave us a wonderful sneak peek at the time of that song with, I believe it was a medley with Untitled, How Does It Feel? Um, couldn't remember, so I had to do a little research. So anyway, I just remember hearing that song live, and the band and D'Angelo, they were just on point like a decimal. You know what I'm saying? And D'Angelo, from all the live performances I've been able to see of him, whether it's through footage or in real time, uh, never disappointed. And him doing Sugar Daddy was just a sign of what was to come for the Black Messiah album. And so I know that moment definitely sticks out to me. And also, I can't remember at what event it was for, but I remember seeing D'Angelo and Questlove uh, playing "Tell Me If You Still Care," and just again giving another stellar performance of that, and just hearing what he brings to the table, singing that song, which is already a classic, but he made it to where if it was his song, what would it sound like? And that's what they gave us. So, uh, what else can be said? D'Angelo is one of one. He represented R&B to the core with only 3 albums to his credit, along with numerous features and collaborations that he did. But uh, you can't speak of R&B without speaking of him. So rest in peace, D'Angelo. Your music and legacy will definitely continue, and you will be missed.
I found my smile again. And that line is so amazing because it's not just about the music, but also rediscovering joy after maybe like loss or a tough time. And it just feels like also, right, coming out of like maybe a long fog.
Hey, what's going on, family? This is QG, aka Nerdy Lil Bubba, and I'm co-host of the Saturday Sit Down. Today, I wanted to take a little time to pay tribute to probably one of the greatest musical geniuses to bless us with his talents in the 1990s. Earlier this week, we lost this musical talent by the name of D'Angelo. D'Angelo gave us classics off of, he put out 3 albums. Brown Sugar was, the entryway, and that was awesome. He followed up with Voodoo, which hit us across the head. And then he also gave us another effort in 2014. Much anticipated, much awaited. But I wanted to highlight one of my favorite songs by D'Angelo, which is playing in the background. The song is entitled Send It On, and it's from his 2000 effort known as Voodoo. I like the song because it's jazzy, it's soulful, the epitome of the R&B that was coming out at that time. It's a whole vibe. If you want to sip on something while listening to it, this is what you want. If you want to, spark a cigar or spark something else, this is the song that you need in the background. If you just want to kick back and chill after what's been a hell of a day, hell of a week, this is the song. It's going to put you in a whole nother musical dimension. So, shout out to the late, great, and now dearly departed D'Angelo. Rest in power, rest in funk. You will be missed. I also want to give a quick shout out to the R&B representatives. Brother JR, sister Elise, who will be putting together their musical tribute. And I'm blessed and honored to have been asked to be a part of it. So please check them out on YouTube if you want some additional musical content. And also check out the Saturday Sit Down for even more music-related content with myself and the host and creator, TH, a.k.a. Head When the Needle Drops. This is QG, Nerdy Lil Bubba, signing out.
As co-host of the Saturday Sit Down. And I was recently asked, what's my favorite song by the late, great D'Angelo? And this song is the 4th track and the 4th single from his debut album, Brown Sugar. The song is Me and Those Dreaming Eyes of Mine. What can I say about this song that most lovers of D'Angelo's music do not already know? This track is soul, funk, gospel, all combined into one. The harmonies are super tight. Even though it's him doing all the backing vocals, it still sounds like a quartet. Plus the lyrics, fellas, listen, we've all been there and can wholeheartedly relate to someone who blows our mind the first time you see them that you just can't stop thinking about them. Lastly, my favorite D'Angelo performance is when he performed Lady with Raphael Sadiq, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, Questlove, and Spanky on the Chris Rock show. That performance was straight up juke joint funky. And then they brought the Southern Black Church Call and Response freestyle lyrics at the end.
Hey, musical family. How are you? So I was asked what my favorite D'Angelo moment or song was. And there's this one song that happened to be a remake that I always have to play. Strolling in the park, watching winter turn to spring. Walking in the dark, seeing lovers do their thing. Y'all know it. Ooh, 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 that's the time. I feel like making love to you. That's the time. I feel like making dreams come true. Oh, babe. So, I love the original to that song that was done by the iconic Roberta Flack. My only critique with the original was it was so short, but it was so lush, right? So when D'Angelo remade it, he put his chicken grease on it, right? And he let that thing bathe in the moonlight. Man, every time I play Voodoo, I have to play that song. It's just so excruciatingly funky. It's like a hot cup of hot chocolate with some coffee brandy inside, with a side of crispy chicken wings and some hot sauce. But yeah, that's one of my favorites from D'Angelo. He put his own spin on it, right? The work of a true artist. When I tell you that man is going to be missed, he's just another one that put out music that has made a heavy, heavy impact. And I'm definitely going to be playing his music till the end of time. So, hey, but I just wanted to share that. It's one of my faves. Rest in peace, D'Angelo. We appreciate and love you.
For sure. This is Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast, and my favorite D'Angelo moment was when I actually got to see him perform live with the Vanguard during his tour for the Black Messiah album. And I was already playing the album to death, and I was already excited to hear, songs from Brown Sugar and Voodoo live. I'm a band person, and I know, D'Angelo was an amazing musician. So I was ready, and, obviously I'm enjoying the show. And I hear like they're getting ready to start Brown Sugar. So I was like, okay, this is probably going to sound ill live. I already had a couple of Henny and Cokes. I'm ready. But then he started to do a little rendition, and I was like, okay, it's a live show. This typically happens. Sometimes I don't like it. I prefer that he just do the version I know. But this version of Brown Sugar was ill. It wasn't a remix that we heard before. I had never heard it before, and I'm a huge D'Angelo fan. So sitting there listening to this version that was ill of Brown Sugar, knowing I couldn't go to streaming services and add it to a playlist. It was something that you had to be there to hear. And the entire show was excellent. You know what I'm saying? Like, it showed that D'Angelo was efficient in funk, soul, rhythm and blues, little bit of jazz, like just anything you could think of in regards to black music and the expressions of our people when it comes to black music. D'Angelo was that, man. And that little situation with Brown Sugar, it wasn't a setup to buy something new. It was just organic. So that is one of my favorite moments of D'Angelo. Rest in peace. Shout out to the R&B representatives. Vegas out.
This is JR, one half of the R&B representative. Shout out to my sister Natalie Elise. And we are mourning the death of D'Angelo. And, you know, it's really sad because he's really one of my favorite artists. So I want to actually talk about a favorite memory of mine. And it's actually when I got the vinyl for Brown Sugar. And it was crazy because when I started vinyl digging, Brown Sugar was one of the ones that I wanted to get, but they were so expensive. It was crazy. I was like, I'm not paying all that money for this. Heck no. But I finally, you know, my money start to increase, you know, and I ended up being able to get this vinyl for like $50. I got it for, and it's all white and all that. And every time I think of about this album, it just takes me back to a time where everything was okay. And I was a kid and I was only 9 years old. And when I heard Brown Sugar, you know, I'm thinking as a kid, it's about love. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay. Not knowing that he was talking about we, you know what I'm saying? But that just goes to show how much of a good songwriter he was. You know what I mean? It was like he was talking about one thing, but you might have thought he was talking about something else. But then I heard his version of Cruising. And I'm sorry, the original version don't exist. Sorry, Smokey. But it was just the way he was singing on it. And you know he was from the church. You know he came from church. Just the way he played his chords and the way he sung, you knew he was from church. But I just remember hearing this album for the first time and hearing All Right and Jones in My Bones and Smooth and Me and Those Dreaming Eyes of Mine. Like, I know that's Elise's like favorite song on this album. And I remember when we did it on our show, shout out to B. Trenton, when he did it with us. And we talked about that and she went off because she even got the vinyl. She's a show off, you know what I mean? But love you, sis. But, you know, the song that really, really I love and I go back to is Shit Damn Motherfucker. And I remember as a kid, you know, I learned the words, so I would have to, bleep it out. And I just remember one time that I said it and my mother went pop. It was like, oh Lord, I'm involved with the crime scene too. He did a whole song about killing his girl and his best friend. That's crazy. But, When We Get By is so jazzy. It's so jazzy. That's what I love about that song. And then obviously Lady with him and Raphael Sadiq. The magic that those two have is just freaking amazing. But the song that really, really touched me the most on this is Higher. And Higher, he gets back to them gospel roots that we know where he came from in Richmond, Virginia. You know what I mean? And it just makes me think about my grandma, because my grandma was actually the one that got me into gospel music. So, when I hear that and when he do that, oh yes, like, that's church. You know what I mean? So this album means so much to me. It's my favorite D'Angelo album. That I can say this, that man has 3 classic albums. He doesn't have a bad album at all, but this one is my favorite. I definitely want to say RIP to D'Angelo. Definitely want to say, my condolences to his family, especially his son, by losing his mom and dad, and after back to back like that. That just have to be hard. But remember, y'all, life is short. Love up on everybody. Tell somebody that you love them for real. And then after that, y'all go listen to y'all some Brown Sugar. Go listen to you some Voodoo, or even the Black Messiah. I gotta say, R.I.P. D'Angelo. We love you.
Thanks for watching, y'all. And of course, we can't end the show without saying we'll catch y'all on the next Catch That. Peace.